Welcome to another riveting episode of Beyond Boundaries, where we bring you inspiring and insightful stories of leaders who are changing the landscape of education in India. Today with me, I have a very special guest. She is a teacher, a mentor, a principal, a guiding force behind the success of the Indian school. Her spirit is willing and her will is spirited. With that note, I'd like to introduce Principal Tania Joshi. Ma'am, it is an honor to have you at the show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, ma'am. So, as an alumnus of Lady Shri College, how was your journey in that particular institution, and how did that affected your career path and your professional life?
Okay. So very interestingly, my parents were totally wanting me to go into St. Stephen's. And I got history honors. I got admission in history honors in St. Stephen's, and I was not prepared to do history honors at all. And for my parents, it was a big thing getting into St. Stephen's. And I said, no, but I don't want to do that. So I took up political science honors in Lady Shri College, which was again a very coveted institution. And I must say that my teachers taught me well. And the first year was a little bit difficult for me to adjust because I had fallen sick and all. And I really didn't know what the road ahead was. But I think after studying there, I can easily say it was one of the best institutes of my life and which shaped me. And what I am today is a lot to do with LSR and the teachers of LSR. So when I was doing Pol Science Honours, automatically my thing was that I wanted to do journalism because I was interested in politics right from the beginning. And again, journalism at that point of time, I'm talking about more than 36 years back, 37 years back. For parents, it was a big no-no that you can't become a journalist.
It's also the exposure. There was no exposure at that time
no
as well.
exposure. And then, for them, shift system in journalism meant that, no, we can't have a daughter doing these kind of things. And what is society going to say?
Traveling to different places, odd timings.
Exactly. But I think what really made me bold was my stay in LSR. Gave me a lot of academic knowledge, shaped me, shaped my personality. And that's how my journey began.
Oh, that is inspiring. So your mentors, your teachers had a huge impact right from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
Do you remember any one teacher at that point of time who you have asked for help or guidance? Like, what should I choose? Or you had this in your mind that I'm going to pursue journalism right from the beginning, and this is how I'm going to take my career down the line?
So it's a combination where, yes, that I knew that I wanted to do journalism, but also my teacher, Mrs. Khanna, who taught me international relations. Because I always also dreamed of doing my MPhil and my PhD, which continues to be my dream still. Just to put in a slide comment, that I did clear my entrance for even MPhil in JNU. I was given admission, but the school where I was working gave me a memo saying, why do you want to do MPhil?
MPhil, Masters in Philosophy.
So it becomes like I was doing it in international relations. And I still remember when I was sitting for the entrance exam, I had all youngsters sitting with me, and I think I must have been 28 or 29 at that point of time, and it really gave me a boost.
Yeah.
So I think it was all because my teachers showed me the right path. And till today, I feel that is the main thing that our teachers can do for us. The path is there. It's how you direct the kids towards.
Yeah. It's also how they inspire.
Exactly.
I remember one of my teachers, I was not a good student, but then she kept on, making me solve these problems, like, do this, take step by step. And that kind of fear, kind of washed away in some time. And so, ma'am, what drove you to pursue post-graduation at IIMC? So what did you have, like, after journalism, I'm going to do post-graduation? Because nowadays, if I talk about myself, my parents were like, you have to do masters because that's the norm. Irrespective of, education is a must in India. But after graduation, what next? So you do your post-graduation. So at that point of time, back in those days, do you have this, I'm going to do post-graduation from this university?
So my automatic choice was that finish the bachelor's in political science and then go in for some kind of a course which would be oriented towards the job market. And since I knew that journalism was something which I wanted to pursue, and IIMC was the best institute at that point of time. And it was only 20 seats that were there, which were only 20 seats all over India. And 5 were given to students of SAARC countries. So you had Nepal, you had Bhutan, you had a whole lot of these 5 candidates from there. And so that means the race was only for those.
Competition.
Yes, absolutely. And when I got it, and it was, there were, I think, more than 20,000 students who had appeared for this all India exam. And I think my parents realized that, okay, she's got some brains at least in her. And that's when I started pursuing my journalism.
So your calling was into journalism.
Yes, absolutely.
So looking back now you are a principal of one of the prestigious schools in India. How would you say the transition from journalism to teaching in the education sphere has brought you?
Okay. So, there's no grand story and there's no grand calling that happened. The reality is that my husband is also a journalist. And when both of us were working in the Statesman, which again was a premier organization, and I very proudly state that we were the first batch of girls to be taken in to Statesman. So it was a big thing for me individually. And then we got married and we were blessed with a son. And that's the time then we had to take a decision that one of us has to change the career, because in journalism you have a lot of shift systems and everything. And I must say that my husband has always backed me. And we both sat and we said, okay, he said, if you want to continue with journalism, you can continue. And I said, no, I think I should change because you are not adaptable at all. So you continue with journalism and let me see what I can do. And being typical Punjabi parents, my parents were on my head and said, apply, B.Ed karo Annamalai se. And I was like, no, Dad, I don't want to do that at all. You can make me anything else, but not a teacher. But I think once I got into it, I have never looked back. I have given it not my 100, but my 500%. And at the end of, I still have a couple of years to go. I feel very satisfied.
Okay.
Because
that is very...
Yeah. And I have not cut corners. I have learned on the job. I had extremely good principals whom I have worked under. And I must say, students teach you a lot.
Students, they do.
Absolutely.
So, how did your journalism experience have helped you in your teaching life? My
subject was political science. And political science and journalism are interconnected, absolutely interconnected. Even today, I ask my students before I start my lesson that tell me any one news item that you have read in the newspaper today. And it's a must, because if the students are not aware about what is happening, how do they relate it to this?
Is it like self-awareness you're talking about, or in like general?
I'm talking about general awareness. Because if there is something happening and what they say is you go from local to national to global.
Yeah.
So you should be knowing what's happening in your city, what's happening in your country, what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
And if you see the textbooks that we have, they are totally in relation to what's happening in the world, how you can relate to the world. So I think journalism helped me in that. Plus, journalism also gave me a flair of the language. It also taught me articulation, because I was working at the desk, so I know how to edit.
How to articulate thoughts, build narratives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what journalism has given me.
That is really, I would say it is a very cool thing that you have utilized the skills, the experiences that you have had in your previous industry, and then you kind of brought them into the education, and now you're forwarding them. You are, setting the pace for the new learners who are the 21st century learners, and now they are learning from your experience and adding their own perspective to their own lives.
Right.
So, ma'am, when you were at Statesman, you mentioned that you and there was another person kind of opened the doors for female candidates or female employees. So could you talk more about that?
We were a group of 6 girls who were taken in at the desk. See, you have 2 fields in journalism. One is reporting and one is editing. So we were on the desk, and finally what you see in the newspaper, what you read in the newspaper is only because the editing has been done. The person who reports just gives you the copy, and then you're supposed to sit and edit.
Yeah.
So it was and Statesman in those days was a typical male club, I would call it, where females or women were just not allowed. So it was a very different kind of a setup, because I was like, it was a British kind of a setup in a way, that we had these bearers coming in and, with the tea and the coffee and the white hats and everything, which looked very nice. But at the ground level, when you have to go and make a page, and you're making a page with a person who is half drunk, and then you come up and you tell your chief sub that, sir, wo to bahut mushkil hai niche kaam karna. And then he looks at you and he says, tabhi bola tha ladkiyon ko is field mein nahi aane ke liye. That gives you the push that no, I have
So you channel that negative into a positive.
Yes.
So now I'm going to do, ab to main karke dikhaunga.
Yes. And in fact, all 5-6 of us were like totally self-driven. And we used to say we're going to make a go of it. And I was there for almost 2 years. And at the end of it, I was one who was a part of the team. So from being an outsider to being a part of the team, that felt very good. And our editor at that point of time was Mr. Kotru, who was a sweetheart. So he used to in fact say, all these old foggies, don't worry about them, carry on with your work.
Giving your best.
Yes.
Strive every day.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, ma'am, we got to know that you were awarded a national award by the Chief Minister of Delhi, State Award by the Chief Minister of Delhi 2018. Could you talk about that?
So that also, I think I had one of my teachers who really helped me, and she did all the paperwork for me. Paperwork is very important. Yes, we do a lot of things, and I always feel that recognition of something is not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. So like people say, oh, so what if you got an award? I think it actually, if it's a deserving award, it gives you a big
boost.
High. It gives you a big high. And there's, as they say, there is in your step, there is some kind of a jump there, because you feel that, yes, I have achieved something.
Yeah.
And it was very nice that, when I went up on stage and Chief Minister gave me the award, I felt very good about it. And in fact, the parent community was also very, very happy that their children are studying in a school where the principal has been awarded. My own children were very happy that, our principal...
Your family was there to support you.
Yes, absolutely. So it was like my management was thrilled. And, the getting an award is not a sole person's, thing. I think it's a teamwork.
It's a teamwork.
And I would give full credit to not only my family members, but I think to my management, to the student body, and to my parents over here.
What was the award about? And looking back now about that particular ceremony, do you still have, or do you still get those jitters about, that experience that at that time you were having?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you like, oh yes. And I've got some photographs and all that, which I do keep looking at. And I look at it and I say, wow, Mrs. Joshi, you achieved this, so it gives you a very nice feeling.
It's a very unique icebreaker as well, like you're meeting somebody, or you just want to talk about the achievements.
So like, for example, when I go for a lot of workshops of CBSE and they ask me, please give us a brief about yourself, and I usually deny that because, I don't like tom-tomming about myself. I don't like it. And I say, okay,
so you don't come across too pompous?
No, not at all. And I, in fact, tell the people over there that don't worry, I'll give my introduction myself. And there are times when the MC takes over and says, no, but ma'am hasn't said this, that she's an awardee also, she's been doing this, she's been doing that. Because I feel it's my achievement. I don't need to put it across to others all the time.
Yeah.
That's my
So
take on it.
you're self-reliant on that part. You're
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
I have done my part. I'm going to
Yes.
still do whatever
Yeah,
I'm doing.
absolutely. And I feel that, one should keep moving ahead in your journey.
So as a resource person at CBSE, what reforms or key improvements, one would be that you want to bring, second would be that you are currently working towards. So if you can brief about that.
So, this was a new thing started by CBSE about workshops and all that.
Yeah.
And the purpose was that the teacher education should not stop after the B.Ed or something like that. It should be subject oriented also, and it should be also dealing with other skills. So, and they keep updating. I mean, it's tremendous that, you're talking about mental health. CBSE is talking about mental health, recognizing that, yes, there are issues, life skills. So there are various kinds of issues that they're dealing with. The current one that I'm going to do end of June is on parenting and how parents need to be educated also. I would say it's a big leap for the CBSE, and we are trained for it. It's not that they'll just give it to anybody and say, okay, fine, you go ahead and do it. And there's a proper feedback session as to how the teachers have really taken it. Now, for me, it is very important that the teacher is in touch with all these things because it's basically, it starts at 9 o'clock, goes on till 4:30. So it's an intensive workshop. There are a lot of activities that are included. It's not a one-way communication. And I think that overall helps in the growth of teachers.
So it's an interactive and engaging session
Absolutely.
with the teachers that you have.
Absolutely. So when you enter, you can see that wall which the teachers have built around themselves.
Okay.
Because they feel that...
Is it like the body language they have, or the looks that they give, or are they rigid in terms of communication?
It's like when you enter, there's a big, it's not a frown, but it's like, oh God, I have to sit here for so long.
And you can see that.
Yeah. And then when you start, and then, you have to break the ice with them. And I always feel that if you connect with your audience, then that's half the battle that is won. So, and I'm quite, I'm not going to be pompous, but I feel that my workshops are not boring, they're engaging, as you said. And one feels that, okay, if you connect with them, make that bond with them, even if it be just for those 6-7 hours, you will be a success.
So if it's a 6-7 hour session and the audience is sitting there, I mean, that is a success all in all.
Exactly.
Because that is a long time.
Yeah, because, otherwise you can see somebody yawning, somebody trying to, get up and say, okay, can I use the washroom or something like that? And then you know that, okay, boss, today you're not doing pretty good. And then you have to up the ante and say, okay, fine, I'm going to try and see what is it that I can get to them. And it's a very good initiative by CBSE because there's constant learning that's taking place.
So how do you break the ice? Like you start your session, you go on, and everyone introduces like this, but then how do you break that ice? How do you make sure that when I'm on the floor, all eyes are on me and now I am passing this message to you? So first you are grasping that information, then you're decoding, and now it is in you so that you can utilize it.
Absolutely.
So how do you do that?
So for me, I always try to relate to the teacher, and I've been a teacher myself. So it's not a hard job to know what life is on the other side of the table, right? So that gives me an advantage.
You have been in their shoes,
yes,
so you know.
Yes, that gives me an advantage. And I know, as soon as I enter, I tell them, okay, I know you're going to think it's a Saturday and it's like, you are here and you must be thinking about your family and all the good food that you're going to eat. And
so bring out all the topics that are going in their mind, and now it's...
and then you immediately see a couple of smiles, so then you know that, okay, you've cracked it. So that's how I kind of break the ice with them. I tell them so because, usually breaking ice means that you ask somebody, okay, what's your name? What is the first letter of your alphabet or whatever your name? Those are things which, are very mundane at times. So you have to bring that newness into
it becomes monotonous for them as well because they are,
they're expecting it, in fact.
Most of the workshops are like that. You go and you introduce yourself, you get the introduction, and then that follows kind of.
So I straight away tell them, okay, I'm not going to do this. So maybe, have the chicken dance. That's a very famous activity that people do. Yeah. So that brings in at least a smile on the teacher's face. And some people say, oh, I love dancing and all that stuff. So you are bringing them around to that topic, but maybe in a different way.
Okay. And ma'am, you mentioned about educating parents. So what in terms of education are we talking about? So in terms of focusing on their child's journey, how they approach or how they motivate them, what kind of feedback that they are giving their child and then getting from them. Because teachers and parents both have to work together in order to bring out a child to be successful in their endeavors. So what exactly?
So there's a term that everybody uses these days, holistic development. Now, holistic development can't take place if I am on one end of the road and the parents are on the other side. It has to be a teamwork. And I would say that, parenting has become very, very different from what I was when my parents were there, or when I was a mother and I looked after my son. It's very different. So, criticizing a teacher was just not done and not acceptable at our times at all. Now, at the drop of a hat, the parent is like, oh, the teacher said this. My child is traumatized by the teacher. The teacher didn't do this correct. At the end of the day, the teachers are human beings also. It's a tough journey. And I feel if the parents trust the school, trust the teacher, that is half the battle that is won.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if we are all the time loggerheads, who is going to suffer? It's the child that is going to suffer, not anybody else. Because, you see, the teacher's job is not easy. You're going into a class where there are 40 children from diverse backgrounds with diverse learning abilities. The teacher has to cater to all those 40 in the class. You as a parent are dealing with one.
You focus on one or two, but the teacher has to make sure that each child is given the same amount of attention,
right?
So that the whole class comes out to be a success.
Yeah. So I think somewhere down the line, the parents need to be told that, okay, hands off, let the teachers and the school do their job. Yes, the channel of communication should always be open. The school should not be that, okay, I'm not going to listen to this parent. Of course, if there's criticism, come to us, tell us what it is about. But don't talk in front of the child. When you belittle a teacher in front of the child also automatically feels that, okay, I can say...
Why should I listen to them?
Exactly. And that in the long run, because I tell my parents, the child is here with us for 14 years. After that, the child is going to be in totally unprotected environment.
True.
What are you going to do at that point of time? So we need to train the child right from the beginning itself.
And you cannot run at every stage with them, because for 14 years you're coming to the same school.
Right.
But once the child is out from the school, how many other people are you going to have the same argument or same feedback with?
Absolutely.
You cannot go one-on-one with each and every experience in their life.
If I ask you, how many times did your parents go to your college and have a PTM session with your college professors? I don't think.
I would say I was a mischievous student, so I would say at least once a semester, but then also it was very...
I don't remember my parents coming at all. I don't remember going to my son's college. He was in college. He's a dentist now. So he was in college for almost 5 years plus. And I don't remember really going and having a PTM type of a thing. So leave the children, let them grow.
And at that time, they kind of also hide those PTM meetings. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's something which a trust ratio has to be built to the highest level possible.
Any feedback or any advice that you got from a parent, and now that is something in your school policies? Do you have some kind of...
So there are so many things. Like, we have a very healthy PTA association. That is a parent-teacher association. There are certain parents who are chosen and who are elected. So they are part of this group. And they regularly keep giving us a feedback. So for example, when we have any kind of annual days or something, we take their assistance. So whether it means incorporating any idea from them, or helping us in dispersal of children, helping us in getting more children to participate. So all that is done by the parents. And when you ask me about parental advice, there are so many times when the parents come and give us advice, like this can be done, that can be done. and we try to inculcate as much as possible.
But there's that also to a limit, because if you start building on each and every, then what would be the time that you focus on your actual work?
Absolutely. And the other thing is, see, the parent thinks from a very narrow perspective. That is the perspective of me and my child.
Yeah.
But when we have to sit in school, we have to think
on a broader macro level.
Exactly. Yeah. So that comes in. But I think by and large, we have to, because I don't think a school can be functioning without actually listening to what the parents want.
So that is a true leader, leading by paving the way for success, building the trust factor with parents and teachers. So ma'am, you have been a teacher, so you know, and you've been in their shoes. What strategies for teachers have you built and now you're still working towards, so that their life is easier as compared to, few years back?
So I would say teachers' jobs have become much worse.
Much worse.
So the job is not easier. The job is much more tougher, because now parent accountability or parents in aggression at times does hamper the teacher's growth. Then there are various things. You see, AI might help you. But like, for example, when COVID started, the first thing that everybody said is that education sector is going to come to a halt. So there was a big question in everybody's mind that what is going to happen to the teacher? How is she going to survive? Whatever it is, at the end of the day, she's getting a salary. But I must say that kudos to all the teachers and hats off to them that they learned the new technology, and that's how we started taking classes online. And
that was a very short time, when COVID hit, and now what we have to do.
Exactly. So from 1st of April, this happened, I think 20th of March, schools closed for COVID. 1st of April, we started with our classes, and the teachers were willing to learn. So for a person like me, who had hardly any computer knowledge, because I'm not a very computer friendly person, I learned how to get into Zoom classes and Google Meet and all those kind of things. And people laugh and they say the two major things that the teachers were saying during the classes was put your cameras on and mute yourself. But do you even realize that what a teacher was going through?
Yes.
It was not
40
easy.
different students and repeating the same message. It would take around 20 minutes just to turn on their camera and then mute the microphone.
Absolutely. And then, things like suddenly we would hear some kind of comments, some kind of music being played. And teachers were not so
It disrupts their flow.
Exactly. But then we did manage. So I think teachers are one of the most adaptable people that we have. And when we were saying, front runners, and we were talking about doctors and nurses, I think teachers did not get their due credit at that time, because education there was a comma there was no full stop for that. So I think the teachers need to be given credit for that. And I understand that the teachers go through a lot. So when we talk of mental health, we talk of mental health of teachers also.
Yeah.
So we have sessions for them where, we have our counselors. We also have some fun sessions for them, whether it's a lunch that we have together, whether it's like a gossip session we sit and have together, whether we have for Teachers' Day, we call a DJ so that the teachers can, just
dance their heart out
and let their hair down and enjoy themselves. Because as I have said before, my teachers are human beings also.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they are also humans.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that I do is I never keep my door closed for them. Yeah. My door is always open. So even if I'm eating, sometimes my door is open. And now my teachers laugh and say, you have mastered the art of having a meeting and eating also. So I said, that is something which I have to do. I can't help it.
Do you still carry that tradition till now?
Yeah, of course. Totally. So because I feel that if a teacher is waiting outside for me, no, that should not happen. The teacher should have free access to me whenever possible. And that goes for my students also. That whenever they want me, I'm there.
You have been a teacher now, a leader at this point of time. Who was your mentor, or who one individual that had a huge impact on your life and you still, have their advice or their words, and you still, kind of follow their footsteps?
Surprisingly, it was no teacher who really shaped me. One person who shaped me a little bit was my previous principal of Gyan Bharati, Mr. R.C. Shekhar. But who really has shaped me is Mrs. Goradia, who is, she is the management for me. She is the person for me. Because I still remember when I came here to this school, which was after 14 years in Gyan Bharati, I came here as a head teacher of class 9 to 12. Within 6 months, less than 6 months, I was made the vice principal over here. And then I think after 3 or 4 years, she called me in the boardroom and she said that within 2 years, you have to be the principal. And I burst out laughing because my reputation, even in my previous school, was that as a teacher, I would sit right at the back. And even when a meeting was taking place, I would keep laughing and I would keep commenting at the back. So as they say, I was a naughty child at that point of time. And when she told me that we'll make you the principal, and I did a double take and I said, no, ma'am, I don't want to do that. I'm a very bindas person. I'll do everything, whatever has to be done, but I will not sit in this seat. I don't think I deserve it. She said, no, you have to. And it is basically...
She had given you the vision and showed you the path.
Yes.
Like, this is where you have to.
At each and every step, she has held my hand. She used to come every Monday and we used to sit and have our sessions. Okay, what are we going to do? How is it going to go? So things which I would, one thing which was very good in me was my discipline, that I was very good with the discipline for teachers or for children. But going out of the box. So when I came to this school, the school was, let's say, at the mediocrity level. But now it is one of the premier institutions of Delhi. So that I feel is a great, we won the Directorate Award 4 years in a row. And that gives you some kind of a boost, And she would sit with me and she would we've had these essay writing competitions with Cambridge University. They in fact took the essays from here, they graded it, they sponsored part of this whole thing. We've got something called Dr. Amidas Goradia debate, which was first only for Delhi, then it became national, now it's international. So like last year we had teams from Sri Lanka, from Africa, from Europe, and it's a big thing. So all that direction has been given by her to me.
And now who do you think is the successor now? Have you identified somebody who is, or are there any multiple people that you feel now these are the...
Yeah. There are so many teachers who are ready to, I won't say ready to fit my shoes, but yes, they have the potential. And I think over the years, people see and they feel that, yes, if I do this in this way, maybe it will be. So I think, and if I can inspire somebody, I would say that's...
Of course.
That's more.
So in your perspective, how do you feel about, what do you feel about ambition? So for example, let's say if I want to become a CEO, that's my ambition. But is it a positive? Because there are two perspectives, there are two sides of each coin, right? So one side would be negative, one would be positive. I want to become the CEO. And be like, oh, he wants to, just jump onto the top,
right,
without even, following or, doing the things that he has to do in his life. So what do you feel about ambition?
I feel ambition is very, very necessary. It's very necessary. Maybe some people might not agree with me because they would say, no, ambition ruins a person. And if you don't get your ambition fulfilled, then you go down the drain mentally and all that. But you have to have a goal in life.
Yeah.
You can't be aimless. You just can't be aimless. So I feel it's very necessary. I always used to feel that my ambition is, before marriage, that I want to have a servant who just cleans my brass. It was that ambition. That went down the drain. But now when I see myself I've just completed 35 years of marriage recently, and I feel, and I look back on my journey and I feel, I've not done bad at all. I've been pretty good. So I tell my students also, when I joined this institution, I'd asked a child, so what do you want to do? And she says, find a good husband. And I said, oh God, where am I? And now we have students who are vying for the best of colleges, best of careers. I talked to a 7th standard boy the other day and he says, ma'am, I want to be an entrepreneur. And that felt good. And that felt, yes, this good work.
That is something very, very insightful. And then, so the message here is you have to have an ambition in life. You have to set goals because leading without a goal is going shooting in the dark. So, ma'am, looking back in your career, now as a principal, as an educator, what challenges or roadblocks have you faced? And what did you do to overcome that?
So there have been various kind of roadblocks. Sometimes parents don't agree with what you want or what you feel or the vision or whatever. I would say I've never had issues with the management or with my teachers. They've always been very supportive with my students also. So as such, I've never seen too many roadblocks. But I think each day is a challenge. We come with a different mindset, and then sometimes you don't even know where that mindset went because you're dealing with some kind of a as they say, there's a big difference between what is urgent and what is important.
Yeah.
So sometimes you are just busy with the urgent at times, and you feel that no, Mrs. Joshi, you need to do something else too. So I think those have been the roadblocks. Other than that.
So how do you segregate urgency from?
So, like for example, if I have, let's say, a student who's just fallen down and hurt himself, for me, that becomes more important to deal with rather than seeing that, okay, whether the daily stuff of the school is going on or not. So those are the kind of situations that we do at times get into. For example, school has to close down because it's very hot. You have thought that, okay, there's going to be a different date of closure.
Yeah.
Whereas the government says, no, you have to close now. So then how to kind of handle that, how to deal with that, that becomes a big thing. I mean, parents have to be told, children have to be told, work has to be completed. So
yeah, that is a lot to absorb. Yeah. So, ma'am, what future plans do you have for your school and then for yourself?
Me and my school, I always consider as one, because what the school has given me is my identity. I would say that if anybody knows me, or even if you're sitting here and interviewing me, is only because I'm the principal of the Indian school. So I feel that yes, I would like my children to be more innovative. I would like my children to achieve higher heights and success, and be better citizens also. So being a better human being at the end of the day sometimes is more important than your academic scores. So I would like, again, using the same jargon, that there is a holistic development of my children. And if I see myself, I don't think about the future so much, because I like to live in the present. And if you keep thinking about the future and the past, then you lose what is there in the present.
So being mindful. That's the message. That's amazing, man. So I read about that you are a nature's person. You love nature, and I have read about your clean initiatives. There are many water harvesting programs in your school. There's solar energy panels inbuilt.
Right.
So could you talk about that as well?
So, long before things, we had the Delhi government started with the happiness curriculum and all. Long before that, we had already taken the big initiative of having a citizenship program. So citizenship program has been conceived by Mrs. Madhvi Diwan, who was part of the management committee. And the main purpose was that the students have to identify not only about, with greed or whatever they need to get. It's also the responsibility. You don't just worry about the rights, you worry about responsibilities also. And one of the biggest and the most successful initiative that we undertook was cleaning up the Defence Colony market. And it is literally, my students had picked up dirt from the road and put it in the garbage cans. There were no garbage cans, in fact. So we were the ones who started this. And the local councillor did help us. So I think somewhere down the line, we have something called a Shramdan program through the citizenship thing, where children make things and it is sold regularly to the parents at the PTMs. And that money is then given to various NGOs. So we have various NGOs like where children even go and work. So for example, if you've heard of an orphanage called Palna.
Okay.
So our students went there, and it's not only that they spent time with the kids, they painted one of the walls of the room. Then they were called again that, okay, paint another wall. So these are the kind of initiatives. This is something which is out of the box. It's not just spending time there and, saying, okay, we went to an orphanage, but it's actually doing something. And it has to be a regular process, not something which is a one-day type of thing.
So you focus on both scholastic and co-scholastic skills, imbibing moral values, how to be a good citizen, taking care of your surroundings as well.
Yeah.
All right. What would be that one piece of advice that you have received from either your parents, your teachers, your mentors, and have you seen that advice working for you, or have you improvised on that?
Okay. So I'm very outspoken, and which was always, my parents also, plus even my mentors and everybody said, like, kind of calm down types. Yeah. And, you have to adapt to the situation, which I learned over the years. And I must say that this thing of adaptability really works wonders. So I can communicate with a person who's even a class 4 employee, or who's a teacher, or who's a principal, or who's anybody in government, because I have learned to adapt myself.
Does that mean going with the flow?
Going with the flow and developing the skills. Because, when you're talking to, when I named these people, you have to talk very differently with them.
Yeah.
And you have to adjust to what the situation demands. You cannot sit on a high horse and say, well, I'm the principal of X school and how dare you do this, or how dare you talk.
It will be very diplomatic.
Yes, absolutely.
So each day is a battle for you, either be it dealing with parents, with teachers, with students, or with the management. How do you unwind a stressful day? Or what activities do you do?
So let me say, I don't see it as a battle. I see it more as a day period. And how do I unwind is, I love listening to music, and I can sing in the shower, and I love shopping.
Oh yeah?
And online shopping, which I learned during COVID. So this is something which I really enjoy. I used to read a lot. I love reading, in fact, and I always make a promise to myself that I'm going to start with a book, and then something happens and I say, okay, that takes a back seat at times, which should not. But other than that, to be very honest with you, I love life. I live each day to its fullest.
So which book have you recently read, or, read some pages, then again, you're planning to go back?
There was actually an author who had come to the school during our literary week, and she had written something about Kashmir, story of Kashmir or something. So I started reading that because it was communication between two girls, one of Kashmir and one of Delhi. So it was an interesting book, but I haven't completed it. It's still lying right on my bedside table, but definitely I will try to read that. And I love reading my newspapers every day. I love reading the editorials.
That keeps you, what's going on around the world.
Absolutely.
And what's your go-to song?
Go-to song is any good Punjabi upbeat music. It can be anything. Because as I said, I love life and I love the rhythm of life.
That is a good.
Yeah.
You love life and you love the rhythm
Absolutely.
of life. So, ma'am, what message do you have for your fellow educators, your teachers, and the whole educational landscape, be it India, outside India? Because we see teachers as one whole community. Every teacher has one role to make sure that their students are thriving in a safe environment, and they become what they achieve towards. So do you have a message for them?
So my only message to all the teachers would be honest to yourself, connect with your children, and have empathy. Because empathy is something which you could relate to, with each child. And that's very, very important. Because once you have that connect with your child, everything is sorted, everything is solved. And don't worry, it's not so bad. There's always ups and downs in life. So there are ups and downs in teaching. Just take it in your stride and move ahead.
Take one day at a time.
One day at a time. Yes, absolutely.
So, ma'am, initially you mentioned that you were not a teacher by choice.
Absolutely.
What do you think, or there will be many individuals or teachers who are in the same shoes that you have been?
Right.
What do you think that they should do, or any advice for them so that they can become as successful as you are today?
I don't know whether I would call myself successful or not, but thanks for saying that. But I feel that, if you have got into this profession, give it not your 100, but your 500%. And make a success of it. Because ultimately, you are responsible for that child. You are shaping that child's destiny. If I, look back and I say, okay, why didn't I like maths? Or why even now I'm unable to do maths? Somebody asks me, what is the cost of 400 grams? I would say, you take money for 1 kilo and just let me be. Was because I didn't connect with my teacher at all. So remember that, give it your 500%, and the child will be all yours.
So go the extra mile.
Go the extra mile, yeah. Go on the road less traveled.
Go road less traveled. So this is a fun round that we have. It's more like a rapid fire round where I will give you a word, and then you have to say out loud what first word or experience or a story that comes in your mind. So are you ready?
Ready.
So values.
Very important in life.
Moral values.
Debatable.
Debatable. Vision.
Necessary. Life cannot happen without a vision, and school has to have a vision.
Teachers.
The backbone of the country.
Parents.
Parents are most important, and I think they need to kind of relook at various aspects, whether it depends on their child or it depends about the school.
Assessment.
Necessary, but should not be in the traditional model. I think when you're assessing a child, you need to know what do you want to assess.
Olympiad.
Excellent.
Book publishing.
Again, that's very good, because without books, life cannot go on.
Technology.
Absolutely important, because technology is here to stay. So the more you shy away from technology, you will be left way, way behind.
Away from the world. So this would be the last one, personality and communication.
Absolutely necessary. And I think journalism helped me in not only communicating, but also shaped my personality. And I tell my children very often, as soon as you open your mouth, that is what the other side is going to judge you on.
Think before you speak.
Absolutely.
Well, with that note, we have come to the end segment of our show. Thank you, Principal Ma'am. You have given us your time. We had learned so much from your experience. We will try to imbibe to your experience into our lives and follow our future endeavors. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here. And you are a very, very good host. You got a lovely voice. Use that.
Thank you.